Police here on the Q 96.5 FM as it's about 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. And as advertised, I have Bill Martin, who's the president of Spangler Candy Company, on the Zoom mobile with me right now. Bill, welcome in.
Good morning, Jim. Thanks for having me this morning.
Hey, it is always fun to have anybody like you with me because you're always such a positive guy. You do so many great things around the community. And gosh, Spangler Candy Company has been part of this Northwest Ohio foundation for so long. So welcome in. And you got kind of a special program going on right now, don't you?
Yes, we do. And again, it's something that was spawned, unfortunately, by COVID. We've been through COVID now since the middle of March of 2020. And it's been kind of a long year, 2020 was, and we hope 2021 would be different. And it feels a lot like 2020, starting out. And so I've been working with Jim Watkins, who's our county health commissioner, who's been doing just a fantastic job for our county. This is not an easy crisis to manage, a lot of moving parts. And he and his team at the health department and all of our healthcare providers are doing a wonderful job. And one of the things we realized in working with Jim through our Williams County COVID defense team is we've been hearing from some mental health experts. There are a lot of mental health issues out there in our county right now, mostly due to COVID and just sort of the lockdown feeling that you get. And now we're into a long, dark winter here in early February, and it's going to get cold here soon. Next week, I think.
Yeah.
So, Jim kind of challenged us, hey, can you come up with something that would be kind of fun, just to maybe lift some people's spirits, let them know they're not in this thing alone, because they're not, and let them know that we're going to get through the other side of this. It's just going to take some time. And so put a little committee together. I put some of the most positive people I know, in Williams County, Megan Hosh up there at WEDCO, Carrie Slade, Amy Miller with the foundation. Of course, Carrie's the mayor of Bryan. Mark Rearig, superintendent of Bryan City Schools. Russ Davies, the Bryan Development Foundation. And Dan Yaris, the Chamber of Commerce. Now, let me tell you, Jim, you have a meeting with those guys. I mean, it's such an uplifting time. They're very positive people, and they don't take no for an answer, right? I mean, there's no negative about them. And we came up with this idea, to have this little campaign. We're calling it the Williams County High Five to Thrive campaign. And it's very simple, and it doesn't cost you anything. Just give somebody a high five. Somebody that's making a difference in your life, give them a high five. Our school teachers, our healthcare workers, people that are working in small businesses, working against all odds here to try to survive. Give them a high five, give them some recognition for what they're doing. And so that's the program we've started, and I'd be happy to answer, more questions about it.
Well, that would almost seem contrary to all the things that the health professionals are telling us right now, because how do I high five somebody, Bill, in a pandemic, right?
Well, thanks to technology, you don't have to run up and personally high five someone. We have on our Facebook page, we have a Facebook page called Williams County High Five to Thrive, and all the instructions there and what you have to do. But you can take one of these, let me grab one of my sheets here. You can take one of these blank, I know you can't see this on the radio, obviously, but
yeah, but we'll put it up we're going to put it up on our Facebook page as well. And right now he's handing out, I think probably a number of folks have seen a high five on Facebook and wondered where in the world it came from. So, but yeah, there's a blank piece of paper. Whose hand did we use, Bill? Is that your hand, or was that the?
We're gonna keep that a secret. That's a top secret on our committee. But look, I made one for you, Jim. I made one for you last night because I knew I was coming on your great show this morning. And
look at that.
Right in the palm of my hand there, the Q 96.5 WQCT. Classic hits. And I gave you this high five because I love classic hits. I guess I'm old enough now where everything's a classic hit, but I love classic hits. So I gave you a high five for playing all those classic hits on 96.5. It didn't cost me anything. And when this thing's over, I'm going to get it out there on our Facebook page. And before you know it, it's going to have likes and shares, and it's going to be all over Williams County.
Man, that is wonderful. That is a great idea, because I do think, even myself, I consider myself to be a pretty positive guy, but with everything that we've gone through, there are days where you just sit there and go, "Oh, can I do this anymore?"
Can I do this, one more day? It's really a challenge. And, our small businesses are hurting out there, our restaurants, but it's not just restaurants. I heard a local eye doctor's lost like 75 patients. Where do they go? Well, they're just afraid to come in, right? They're afraid to come in and get checked out. And we can't have that. You can do most things if you follow, the safety protocols, wearing a mask, watching your distance, and of course, washing your hands. And, people are out there, all the essential workers are out there every day. We have some at Spangler Candy Company. They're coming in every day knowing that, COVID could catch them when they least expect it. But we found in our local businesses, if you follow these safety protocols, the virus doesn't spread. You might have somebody that gets it, from being at a group activity outside work, but they come into work, and because we're all wearing masks and because we're all doing the right things, the people that end up getting quarantined, they haven't gotten sick. And it's just like in the schools, they've seen the same thing, that as long as people are following the safety protocols, there's a very, very small chance you'll catch the virus. And I think people are starting to see that. And again, we want our businesses and all of our people to make it through this and get through to the other side, which I hope is sometime this summer. I mean, God only knows when it's going to be, but we still have some time here to help each other get through this. And I know I've sent out a few high fives to some local schools because they're in school during a pandemic. Only 35% of our nation's kids are actually in school learning, which is unbelievable that 2/3 of the kids are going virtual for learning. I just can't even imagine that. But our educators in Williams County have stepped up and they're doing a fantastic job, right? I mean, you're not hearing about spread. They're having sports activities. I can watch Bryan basketball. I can watch Edgerton basketball at night if I want to. You guys are covering the games. I mean, it's kind of strange. It's like in little Williams County, Ohio, we're just going on like normal, and everybody else is completely on lockdown. And we just want to be able to, make people feel good about what they're doing. And if somebody does something nice for you, let them know. I've learned how to color as an adult now. So I'm coloring my high fives. And my granddaughter taught me how to do it. We worked on some this past Sunday. She's only 5 years old, and she's like the expert in coloring books.
Yeah.
She showed me how to do this, and I try to find the colors of whatever business I'm sending it to, and do a little coloring, and I get it out there on the Facebook page, and people share it, and it gets around. I send it via text. You don't have to just use Facebook. I send it via text. I've sent it via email. I'm using every kind of technology possible, but I am avoiding smacking somebody's hand. I am avoiding that.
That probably is a smart idea, unless it's your granddaughter's hand. I think you're okay that way, right?
Yeah. She's only 5. She's good.
Yeah. I think you're good that way. So if you go up to your Facebook page, you can download these handprints from there.
We have blank forms on there, along with a letter that kind of describes what it is we're doing. Let's see, what else do we have? We have samples of high fives that people have already done and have already sent around the community. We'd love to get, this isn't just a Bryan thing. Megan works at Wedco, so she's in touch with all the local communities. We want to get, the local communities like Edgerton, Stryker, West Unity, Pioneer, Montpelier. We want to get all those guys involved in doing it in their schools. I saw some pictures of some kids from Bryan did some high fives to their support dog that they have at the school. I think his name is Catcher, I believe his name is. Catcher got like 15 high fives from these kids and probably has no idea what the heck's going on. But I mean, he was smiling in the picture, so maybe somebody told him.
I think those dogs are a lot smarter at times than what we realize, Bill. You know what I mean?
They sure are. They definitely are. But that was kind of neat to see that these little kids thought, we love Catcher and he makes us feel better every day. So we're going to recognize him for it. We're going to give him a high five.
I think that's great because we can't understand what some of these young kids are going through right now. We as adults can be frightened beyond belief with this virus, and we have friends who might be in a hospital somewhere or whatever. But to a younger person who might be 10 or 11 years old, and now all of a sudden their entire world has changed when they go to school, when they don't go to school, what they can do, what they can't do. It's a lot more difficult for them than it is for us.
That's a really great point, Jim. That's a great point. I had the experience early on back, I think maybe around April. I was in Bryan City Schools in one of the kindergarten classes, and it was really different to walk in there and see 13 or 14 little kids all wearing masks. And usually you go into a classroom and they're bubbling with chatter and bubbling with activity, and they're picking on each other and they're doing kid stuff, right? I mean, they're 4 or 5 years old. This classroom was so quiet. Everybody was in there sitting very calm, wearing their mask. And it took a little while for them to kind of open up to us. But I tell you what, about 30 seconds, they were all telling me what's so cool about their mask. Which character they had. They all had, some had their favorite colors. I mean, our kids are so resilient. We don't give them credit for how resilient they really are. I mean, a global pandemic's going on. 2 million people have died on the planet. And these little kids, they don't really know about that. They're just telling me about their mask and where it came from and who bought it for them. And, kids are resilient. We're so lucky to have them.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what? We talked off air that I can remember my grandparents talking to me about, the Spanish flu when they were kids and polio and different things that they had to deal with back then. I think we as a community lose track of the fact that there were bad days and grim days in the past. And we get caught up in this whole idea that we can't do this right now. We have to wear the mask. Our grandparents just basically dealt with it and moved on and then told us about everything when we were little kids. Now these little kids are going to be able to tell their grandkids 50 years from now, 60 years from now about what they went through today.
Yeah, I agree. 100 years ago, it was pretty tough to make a living. That was right before the Depression, right during World War I, right? And so, the pandemic hits and it's like millions of people. I can't even imagine it. And, we have it a little bit easier than they did 100 years ago, but this has been tough. This has been a real challenge to not be able to see your family routinely like we got accustomed to not be able to hug your kids for fear of the virus. I mean, this is, even for us 100 years later, this is uncharted territory. And I think our Williams County residents have done a fantastic job, though. In the past, since early December, Jim, we've reduced our case rate from over 1,000 cases per 100,000 residents down to less than 300. That's like a 70% reduction. And, we had a lot of death around here in December.
Yeah.
60 some folks. And I think that really got everyone's attention, and people have really done all the right things. I see masks everywhere I go. It's become routine, and it's not going to be forever. It's not going to be forever, but we have to get through this. And we got to focus on mental health too. That's a huge part of our overall health. And gosh, how do you help somebody that can't go outside or can't do things? Well, you know what? There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can reach out to the elderly and give them high fives. You can give someone a high five for helping the elderly. I mean, there's just so many things. We have a list on our website of like 15 things you can do to give a high five. And if we have a minute, I want to go through them just real quick when we get it.
Yeah, no, please. In fact, let me take a break because I need to pay some bills here. Otherwise, Susie's going to give me a high five, and it's not going to be a friendly high five. You know what I mean? You know how salespeople. No, you've got salespeople at Spangler Candy, and if you stop them from selling dumb suckers, they'll give you a high five, but it will not be the friendly high five, right?
No, it will not be. I hear you.
And that's where Susie is too. So let me take a minute here to play a couple commercials and the Ohio News Network news update. And when I come back, Bill Martin will still be with me here as we tell you how you can give somebody that is deserving a legitimate high five that they will enjoy unlike the high five that Susie will give me if I don't take this break. It's 11:21 on the Q 96.5 FM. And back on the Zoom mobile with me right now is Bill Martin, the president of Spangler Candy Company, and also one of the group in the area in Williams County that are promoting the High Five to Thrive that you probably have seen in maybe windows of buildings or up on social media. And Bill, tell the folks, we were just before we had to take that commercial break so Susie wouldn't come in. She's in the building right now too. So, I mean, that's why you have to be very careful when she's in the building because she doesn't hear the music, but she listens for the commercial breaks. You know how that is?
Gotcha.
So you have to make sure you take care of things. With Susie's only 5 foot tall and weighs about 100 pounds soaking wet, but I am scared to death of that lady.
Well, so am I now.
I shouldn't say that. We went over some of the things that you do, but you had a list of some of the reasons why someone would get a high five.
Yeah, these are out there on our Facebook page, Williams County High Five to Thrive. And just a few things. Number one, like our Williams County businesses, small businesses, large businesses, whatever, you can patronize them, buy a gift card or buy a takeout order. You can do a high five form for the business, let them know how much you appreciate them, and maybe they'll put it up in their window. I've seen a few already in some local businesses. You can give them a shout out on social media. You can do your high five worksheet, give them a shout out on social media and let that spread around the county. That's kind of fun to do. You can high five a neighbor, just call them to see how they're doing. Maybe they need their snow shoveled. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that, but you can call a neighbor. You can give a shout out to a healthcare worker that that's working long hours and stressful long hours, might I add. You can high five a school teacher, an administrator, or a staff member by giving them a high five on social media. You can high five a local nonprofit like the YMCA that does great things. They've been open this whole time too, for the most part. You can high five nursing home residents and sending them notes and letters. Just a friend, family member, a coworker. You can do anything you want, really. You can high five a veteran. How about our veterans? They've been through some tough times in their life. They know how to get through tough times. And so they can give us some advice. How do you get through tough times? You can high five local churches. Our churches have been great supporting the mental health needs of our residents. And so they deserve a high five. And again, you can help the waitresses in a small restaurant. You can double your tip, when you go in there, right? I mean, that's not going to kill you. And it might just make her day. And so those are all the kinds of things we can do. And I want to make sure we get this on the air that Thursday, April 15th, which is normally known as Tax Day, is also National High Five Day. So I don't know what that means yet, but we are working on some kind of a special promotion contest around National High Five Day. And our team is very creative and they're very positive. And I know we're going to come up with something that's going to be fun.
There you go. Why don't you pay our taxes? You can pay everybody's taxes, Bill. How's that? I'd give you a high five for that.
Well, that's a great idea, Jim. We'll get back to you on that one.
I always have those great ideas that people want to get back to me on, Bill, as always. I don't know why, but they always seem to be ideas like that, and everybody says the same thing. I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, we'll circle back to you on that one.
Well, I'm sure you'll find something to do, and those are great reasons, because I'll tell you, last night, we went down and picked up some food at Four Seasons here in Bryan. Okay. Yeah. And carry out. And I know there are a lot of people, I'm sure, that pick up the carry out and think, oh, it's carry out, so I don't have to give anybody any money, and I am the same way that you are. I like to try to give a person a bigger tip because they're in there trying to make something happen. Well, there weren't 5 cars in the parking lot last night. Okay. Now, again, it's a Tuesday night, so I'm sure it's a slow night and everything else. But the young lady was so nice on the phone taking the order. When you had to deal with a name like Funderburg, she chuckled. She goes, give me your name. I said, Jim Funderburg. She goes, well, we'll just call you Jim. Okay. All right. And just such a great attitude while she was down there, and probably having a tough night because there weren't that many people there. And you hand her that tip, and you could just see a smile on her face, like, oh, she's honestly said, "Thank you so much for that." I don't get a lot of those tips like that, and it felt good to give it to her, and I know she felt good to have it as well.
Yeah, that's a great story, Jim. I mean, you just made her night. I bet she's telling all her friends about it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that is a positive experience that we want people to have. We got to get through this thing to the other side. There's just we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I think doing these kinds of things are really helpful.
Yeah, they are. There's no doubt about that. How has everything been at Spangler's through this entire pandemic? Everything going okay?
Well, I mean, it's been a real challenge. Our people have been great. Our employees have come into work, every day to make the great products that we have. Unfortunately, some of our business model, is focused on, giveaway candy and big group activities, like parades and fairs and all those types of school activities that you have. And a lot of those have been canceled. So our little Dum Dums brand is kind of taking it on the chin, but we're doing the best we can with it. We're finding new ways to get Dum Dums out there. You may have heard we just acquired the Bit-O-Honey brand. And so we're out there selling Bit-O-Honey, which I've grown up as a kid. I mean, holy cow, that thing pretty much filled my whole mouth. I mean, it was a great piece of candy, and it's no different today. It's a great brand, and we're excited to have it. And then a couple years ago, we acquired, the Necco Wafers brand and the Sweethearts brand, and those brands have been doing great with us. So it's not all bad news. I mean, we have some brands that are doing really well, and we have others that are struggling a little bit, and we just need things to get back to normal. And people start doing those normal group activities, we'll see Dum Dums pick back up again.
Yeah, no doubt. It is really unusual to go past your sign and not see, 1.79 million Dum Dums made today. I mean, because that was something that whenever I had family members up or anybody that came up, you always take the tour, you always take them past that, and then everybody is with you went, they make that many Dum Dums in a day, and you go, yep, that's what they're doing in there.
Yeah, that's our running sign, our cumulative number. We always flip it over the 1st of January, and it just grows and grows. And we hope it gets up to, 2.5 billion, by the end of the year, which is still hard to wrap our brain around. I think last year it was, just over 2 billion. I think we just hit just over the 2 billion mark. So it's not all negative news. I mean, hey, I tell you what, there are businesses in way worse shape than us, and having to take this thing on. And that's why we got to help them. We got to help our small businesses here in town and all over Williams County. They're just all over. They need our help. And we need to give them some shout outs. We need to give them some, some high fives and get people taking some takeout, or, you can even go in there and have a meal. I mean, it's safe to go in and have it. You're allowed to do that in Ohio, not Michigan, but you are allowed to do that in Ohio.
Yeah. And you know what? God bless them. I don't really want to try to, criticize the folks up north there necessarily. Okay. I'm an OU Bobcat. So I'm not in that Ohio State, Michigan thing at all. I don't have to worry about that at all, but Michigan has really suffered even more dramatically than Ohio because they really went on a lockdown program. And I was sharing with you the Albion College we do the basketball games with. If they're doing basketball games in Michigan, all players have to wear a mask, and I cannot imagine how you play basketball with a mask on.
That is something I never imagined in my whole life. Like, why would you even consider trying to play that sport, which is a track meet with a ball?
Yeah.
How would you even consider wearing a mask? But you know what? They're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
they sure are.
High school, I mean, those kids, I've seen the film on the news at night. I've seen kids playing football with masks up in Michigan. They're doing it. You just do what you have to do to get through it and try to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, that's the important part. All right, Bill, I'm about to let you loose here so you can get back to work because I know Ken Reeker, who is the executive vice president of the corporation out there, is a stickler for whether Bill Martin's get anything done all day long. He's that kind of guy. Okay.
Well, he can probably tell we're sucking up a lot of his bandwidth, and IT, being on the radio like this. So he's probably ready to knock on my door here any minute.
Yeah, he's that little meter just spinning around and around and around, and Kenny watches that meter all day long. There's no doubt about that. For folks who
he sleeps.
No, Ken Reeker, he does more with the 48 hours he has in every day than any man I've ever seen in my entire life. He gets more things. He gets more things done than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life. There are days I look at Kenny and I go, "How did you get that done?" "Well, I just kind of stayed up a little late last night and got it all taken care of."
That's Ken.
Yeah, that is Ken. No matter how many hours it takes, he will use every one of those 48 hours in his day to make that thing happen. That's how he is. But
thank you for having me on today, Jim. And I'll get your high five out there on social media here any minute, and get a little advertising for 96.5 and your radio show. How's that?
You are the man. And anybody that would like to be part of this one more time, where can they hook up with High Five to Thrive?
Just go to our Facebook page, Williams County High Five to Thrive. We've got tons of friends out there already. Join the club. It's just for the winter. We're going to have a great time.
No doubt. And I can't wait to have you come back to me down the road, like you said you would, and let me know how much of my tax bill you're going to pay for me on April 15th.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my office and figure that out for you right now.
Bill Martin, thank you for all the things you do in your committee as well, because those are the kind of things that are going to get us through this whole process.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Jim. Have a great day. Thanks.
You too. Bill Martin, our guest here on the Zoom Mobile. With that, we go back to those classic hits that we talked about here on the Q 96.5.